That game against the Toronto Blue Jays, and he is ready to go against Cleet Thomas, and we are underway, and the fastball is outside 1-0. Cleet Thomas, a 25-year-old, and he is getting regular playing time for Jim Leyland, drafted in 2005. He fouls it back, a ball and a strike. He has 4 career home runs, and 2 of those came in the game last night.
You know, he was pretty impressive last night. I had to go to the books on him and find out what kind of a home run hitter he was through the course of his career. The most home runs he's ever hit in a minor league season is 9, so it's not exactly what I'd call a home run threat. But you know, he's gotten a little bigger and a little stronger since then, and last night he proved to me he can hit it out anywhere when he took a low pitch down and away and hit it into the left center field seat. So he's a guy you got to watch out for when you're behind in the count.
Yeah, Birkin does get ahead, a ball and 2 strikes, and he just misses inside 2-2. Well, Thomas getting regular playing time. Detroit ending a road trip today, and he is 7 out of 18 on the road trip. So anytime you can get your leadoff man on base, so important, as the Orioles fans know, with Brian Roberts.
You know what I really like too, you know, besides being able to put the bat on the ball, I watched him last night. He had a couple of plays where he had to make some throws to home plate, and boy, he's an accurate thrower. You know, we got Nick Markakis out there, who's probably the leader in that respect.
Popped up, shallow left, and Dino out. The shortstop is there. He has it for the out, and 1 down. Let's get a look at the defensive alignment behind Jason Birkin today. A couple of changes for this day game.
Well, you see, and Adam Jones is back out in center field. Scott is in left. He gets from the DH spot out there and gets a little gardening job. Nick Markakis in right. Wigginton at third base to spell Melvin Moore. And Dino back at short after a 4-hit performance. Roberts and Huff around out the right-hand side. Greg Zaun's back behind the plate again.
Fastball misses low. 1-0 to Ramon Santiago. He's getting a start today at second base as Placido Polanco, the regular second baseman, gets a day off. Jim Leyland's club, they've been playing very well. First place in the Central. Fly center field. Jones on the run as a play. And Adam runs it down for the out, and 2 men down. Now, Jim Leyland, a veteran manager, he has had success everywhere he has managed. His club has a 4-game lead in the Central over the White Sox. And he knows that you have to give your regulars days off. You have to get the bench players in there. And today he has Santiago playing at second base, Larish playing at first base. So that means that Polanco and Miguel Cabrera each get the early part of today off. But this guy, no way he's going to get a day off. Maglio Ordonez, who was the hottest hitter in the Tigers lineup. Ordonez brings a 16-game hitting streak into this game.
I know. I mean, this guy is just unstoppable, and he has been for a long, long time. You know, since 2007 when he won the batting title at 363, you just don't expect a guy like him to be able to do that because he's a power guy. He's more of a power guy and an RBI guy, but you would never think that he was going to put up those kind of numbers.
Kind of interesting. He is a power guy, and he only has 2 home runs on the year for the Tigers. Breaking ball hit slowly towards the left side. There's Wigginton wide of the back, throws across. He got him, and a strong start for Jason Birkin. 3 up, 3 down. Go the Tigers. Well, Brian Roberts, Adam Jones, and Nick Markakis coming up. Here come the Birds in the bottom of the first. this Sunday afternoon. It is Little League Day. A lot of enthusiasm in the ballpark with all the youngsters on hand. And here come the Orioles. Southwest Airlines starting lineups for the Birds. Roberts, Jones, and Markakis. Aubrey Hupp in the cleanup spot. Ty Wigginton gets a start at third. And Luke Scott in left field. Luke, have yourself a series. 6 out of 11. 5 home runs and 11 RBIs in the first 3 games in this series. Wieters will DH. Zahn will catch him. Robert Andino, the shortstop, bats ninth.
And here's your PNC scouting report for Edwin Jackson. He is effectively wild. He uses that fastball. If he's ahead in the count, he will try to intimidate the hitter and move him off the plate. He went from a picker to a power pitcher, and that's really what's put his game to him. He tried to pitch hitters backwards with off-speed stuff when actually he's one of those kind of guys that comes right at you. He's experienced a great deal of success ever since he started throwing the ball over the plate. He got 14 wins as a career high last year with the Tampa Bay Rays.
Pretty good trade for the Tigers this offseason. Tampa Bay felt it at pitching depth, in particular with David Price, who had a big game last night for the Rays. Roberts to center field. That ball's out there, but Granderson will run it down, and he has it for the out. 1 away in the first. Here's the Tigers defense today, and like the Orioles, a couple of changes.
Granderson in left field. Granderson, you just saw him run down that fly ball. Thomas is back and right. 2 home runs last night. In at third base, and boy, what a third baseman he is. Everett Santiago getting the game today. Larish at first base. He's a home run swinger. Layered back behind the plate, and Jackson on the mound.
Tigers are 4th in the American League in team fielding. That coincides with their team pitching, and that coincides with their record, which is a first-place record in the Central. Here is Adam Jones. Hard hit ball. That is foul down the left field line. I think Adam is going to the plate today with a sense of purpose because he has had such a tremendous year. He's only had 9 games without a hit, and last night, in a game in which the Orioles left men on base in key spots, Jones took a rare 0 for 5, and that snapped his 6-game hitting streak. You can see the batting average at .350. That is 5th best in the American League.
Well, that's pretty easy to do when you face a guy like Justin Verlander, who has never lost a game to the Orioles. I mean, this guy just knows how to pitch, and he knows how to make pitches. And I think he just had him a little bit off balance last night, got him to swing at some balls outside the strike zone. Once that starts to happen, then he's one of those kind of pitchers that can continue to hit those spots until you actually start being a little more disciplined against him.
Adam leads the Orioles in base hits. He has 63. That is tied for 9th best in the American League, and he has been without a doubt the Orioles' most consistent hitter since opening day. 1-2 on him, and he got him. Slider down and away from the swing of Adam Jones, and he's down on strikes, and 2 away.
You see this pitch right here. This is something that happened last night, and Jackson continues to exploit. Slider down and away. Verlander showed him how to do that. Obviously, he paid attention last night. Something you don't often see in Adam Jones's game is swinging at bad pitches. That's something he's been able to stay away from all season so far.
Jackson, 25 years old, out of Columbus, Georgia. Now in his 7th big league season. Here's Markakis. High fly ball left field. Anderson is there, back on it, and he has it for the out. The Orioles go quickly 3 up and 3 down in the first. Sunday baseball at Camden Yards will head to the second. No score. MassonSports.com. Little League Day here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, and today the parade around the field, which is very, very popular with the youngsters. They have a thrill as they walk around the warning track. They start in the right field corner. They completely circle the field and then exit the same way. The Oriole bird leads the parade, and the Oriole players hang out over the rail on the dugout, and high fives for all the youngsters who get a chance to meet their heroes. Granderson leads off in the Tigers' second. It takes a strike. Granderson in the cleanup spot with Miguel Cabrera taking a day off. He has 12 home runs and a 4-game hitting streak.
You know, it's amazing. I've seen him play for 4 or 5 years now in the major leagues and never really realized that he is a pretty good power hitter. He's had 23 home runs in his best year so far in 2007, Jim. He hit .302 and drove in 74 runs. And here you think he's a leadoff hitter. It's amazing what the number 1 and number 2 hitters in Major League Baseball are doing now. When you get into the power surges of second baseman alone, you'd think you were talking about cleanup hitters in my day.
2-1 has popped up. Second baseman Robert shading his eyes from the sun, still waiting for it, and he has it for the out, playing the angle to the left to shade from the sun, and 1 away. Well, Nick Markakis, Brian Roberts, and Adam Jones are all among the league leaders in votes for the 2009 All-Star Game. So get online and vote now for your favorite Orioles at Orioles.com. And don't miss your chance to vote orange and save green by voting for your birds. The maximum 25 times you'll receive a free upper reserve seat to any non-prime game after the All-Star break. So vote early, vote often. For complete details online, Orioles.com, vote orange. Here's Jeff Larish playing at first base today, the 26-year-old. 4 in a row retired by Birkin. And it's outside.
You know, I would be very cautious pitching to this young man. I watched him swing in that first game. He got an opportunity to play. I know he hit a double down in the right field corner 2 games ago. But, boy, Jim, he likes to sit on that back leg, and he uppercuts that swing. If he gets a hold of a fastball in a fastball situation, he can put a charge in it.
Well, there's the fastball, but perfectly placed. He hit Zahn's glove, did Birkin on the outside corner, 2-1. Well, Jason Birkin, 25, born in Green Bay, Wisconsin, and now resides in Ellicott City. Changeup, swing and a miss, 2-2. And Jason, without a doubt, has been the story of the year in terms of personnel on this team, because he was not on the 40-man roster in the offseason. There's his debut from Tuesday against the Blue Jays. And now in his second major league game. 2-2 pitches just inside ball 3. And I think it is a testament to the work that Andy McPhail has done in the entire system that Jason Birkin, who last year was 12-4 at Bowie, was not added to the 40-man roster. The 3-2 pitch, swing and a miss. He got him, and 2 men are down.
Well, what I really liked about his whole sequence of pitches right there, he never threw the same pitch back-to-back 2 times in a row. Watch this fastball in the inside corner. Look at that little bit of movement. And he keeps that front shoulder in nicely. One thing, I'm telling you, Birkin, Bergeson, Hernandez all come up here. They all have the same kind of mechanics. They all have that same repertoire of pitches. That's a beautiful thing to see. That's why I call them all grinders, because they can come at you with anything.
Brandon Inge up, takes ball 1. Pitch tracks brought to you by Northrop Grumman, the information systems powerhouse.
You know, he's not limited to what he really wants to throw, even when he's behind in the count. You saw the fastball on the outside corner. It's got that little bit of movement on it. He can always go to that. You saw Zahn sit up on the outside there. And I love when I have a guy back out there that can use 3 or 4 different pitches. Throw the breaking ball when you're behind in the count. You can always fool hitters when you can do that.
2 outs, none on, 1-1 on Inge. 5 in a row retired by Birkin. Fastball's high and 2-1. But getting back to the offseason and the crafting of the 40-man roster, once you achieve a certain amount of service time as a minor leaguer, you either have to be added to the major league roster or exposed to the Rule 5 draft. And then another team can make a claim and you go to that organization, and a team like the Orioles might lose a prospect. Well, Birkin was only drafted in 2006, so he didn't achieve enough service time. He did not yet have to be added to the roster,
right,
and that's why he wasn't. And in spring training, as Oriole fans know, it's tough to get innings for all the pitchers. 2-2 pitches lined into left field. There's a base hit, so Inge is on with a 2-out single. But it wasn't because the Orioles didn't feel he was worthy of being on the 40-man. In fact, it is a healthy situation because Andy MacPhail had pitchers that he had to add to the roster. There were too many pitchers that he had to add, and Birkin simply wasn't needed to add to the roster, so they just told him, go down there and pitch, and if we need you, we'll call you up, and that's what they did.
You know, based on the statistics that he put up last year at Bowie, 12-4, because he opened a lot of eyes. But, you know, Birkin really wasn't one of the guys that the organization thought they were going to go to this early in his career. They have other guys down there like Brian Maddox just stopped by, but Chris Tillman and Troy Patton and Arrieta and all these guys, you know, they would have expected that they would get their opportunity at the major league level ahead of him. But, you know, he's just so solid, you can't overlook the fact that he was ready to come to the big leagues. He likes to throw the ball over the plate. Not a strikeout guy, Jim, but a guy who gets a lot of ground balls and fly balls, and he doesn't really give you a good shot at him most of the time.
0-1 on Josh Anderson. Bounce towards second base. Roberts gets an in-between hop and a flip to first. Inning over. Base hit. And a man left. Well, a big day at Oriole Park. Little Leaguers at Sunday baseball. No score. Beautiful day at Oriole Park at Camden Yards as you look skyward from the foul pole. Bird's going to bat in the second. No score. Orioles went 3 up and 3 down in the first against Edwin Jackson. And Aubrey Huff leads off and takes inside 1-0. Huff, Wigginton, and Scott for the Orioles here in the second inning. Aubrey's got that batting average at .272. 8 home runs, 38 RBIs, and there's a strike.
Well, you think about what Aubrey Huff has done for this ball club offensively. He's just kind of been overshadowed by some of the fireworks that have been going on around here now off the bat of Luke Scott. But you do forget that how well Aubrey Huff hits with men in scoring position. So he's a leadoff hitter this inning right now with nobody on base. But boy, he's been doing an outstanding job, even better so than he was last year, and that was one of his best years ever.
1-2. Jackson back at him. Tapper past the mound, but near the middle is the shortstop Adam Everett, and he'll get it to first. And 1 down. Aubrey Huff is retired. 4 in a row retired by Edwin Jackson. Edwin Jackson, 25 years old. He was drafted by the Dodgers in 2001, and then Tampa Bay made a very good trade. The Dodgers sent him to the Rays for a package which included, at the time, the Tampa Bay Rays closer Danny Baez. Danny went from Tampa Bay to Los Angeles. Edwin Jackson, who as a youngster in the minor league system with the Dodgers, as Wigginton hits it hard to third. Brandon Inge has it, and on one pitch Wigginton's out and 2 men down. Well, Luke Scott is coming to the plate now. 2 outs and nobody on, and yes, he did hit a home run last night. 4 consecutive games now with a home run for Luke Scott. And what a month he is having, and what a couple of days he has had since coming off the disabled list. In 4 games, 8 out of 15, 6 home runs, 14 RBIs since coming off the disabled list on Wednesday afternoon.
Let's just talk about what he's done against the Detroit Tigers in the last couple of years. 35 at-bats against the club and 10 home runs. 4 of those games he's got multiple home runs, 2 in each of them. He has just been unbelievable.
Takes a strike from Edwin Jackson. And the all-speed pitch is outside. Well, Scott overall has a 7-game hitting streak working. He had hit in 3 in a row, including the game in which he hurt his shoulder against the Yankees, and then eventually went on the DL, and he's hit all 4 since coming back. There's a strike in the inside corner, and it's a ball on 2 strikes.
I've seen Eddie Murray in his heyday hit 3 home runs one night in Anaheim. I've seen Reggie Jackson, when you talk about the record, 6 home runs in 6 games in a row. And then Luke Scott to do what he's done. Luke Scott has been more impressive than those 2 guys have been. And it's been unbelievable to watch him swing the bat. Now, everything just looks like he is serving it right up there saying, please throw me a fastball middle in. And he's crushing the ball.
Jim Leland told the reporters after the game last night he might just walk him every time. There's 2 outs, nobody on. You're going to go at him. And the 2-2, he got him. Jackson, a very strong inning. And the Orioles go 3 up, 3 down for a 2nd consecutive inning. We'll head to the 3rd at Oriole Park. No score. Well, back here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, no score as we go to the 3rd. Jim Hunter with Rick Dempsey. And one thing about this game of baseball, regardless of how well a team might be hitting, if you go out and pitch a good game, you're going to have a chance to win. And today we have 2 pitchers early on their game.
And they work very fast. Matt Wieters was right. Our guy Berkins is from Clemson. They love to work fast. That's what you've seen so far. Very quick inning and a half.
Well, the Orioles are trying to end this month on a positive note, and a win today would conclude a homestand at 6-1. 6-1 on the homestand, and when you're trying to get back towards 500, that is just a remarkable way to end the month, to come home, right the ship, if you will, and go out there and end the month on a positive.
Jim, it's a new look lineup out here, and I don't think a lot of organizations really understand how much power this team has added and the aggressiveness of them offensively. They're going to make some mistakes because they just don't know these guys yet, and they're taking advantage of it. The Orioles are putting a lot of runs on the board.
Been a lot of enthusiasm that we've seen in particular on this homestand because there have been 3 players called up from the minor leagues, and when you add that exuberance to a team that was already swinging the bats, it really has a carryover effect to the other players.
Well, the veteran players see these young guys come up here and they realize the capabilities of a guy like Matt Wieters, a switch hitter with power, can do it defensively, can do it offensively. They realize he's going to take some of the load off of the rest of the guys when they don't have good, real good days. And so, I mean, this whole organization has changed. We're shoring up in the outfield. We're shoring up in the infield. It's a beautiful thing to see.
Yeah, when you look at the makeup of the 25-man roster as it stands today, 8 of those players were drafted and developed by the Orioles. And when you have that many players who are quality players, impact players, if you will, coming through the system, that's a real positive. So Jason Birkin Here in the third inning, he has allowed only one base hit. Facing Gerald Laird, the Tigers catcher, Adam Everett on deck, and then back to the leadoff spot, and Clete Thomas.
One of the things that they're going to have to worry about with Laird is the fact that he loves to bunt so much, and I can see Wigginton playing back there at third base. I guess it wasn't going to happen with 2 strikes there, but that's something that he really looks for all the time.
So Birkin gets the strikeout. That's his second.
Pretty good fastball up in the zone. Talking to Matt Wieters before the game, this is something he really likes to set up. Sliders down and away, and then come at hitters with that fastball up, and that's what really kind of fools him. He sneaks it by him up in there. When he gets locked in like that, he's going to be tough.
He has retired the leadoff hitter in each of his 3 innings. Here's Adam Everett, and Everett takes ball 1. Adam Everett, a veteran now with the Tigers, hitting at .283. He is 1 out of 11 on the Tigers road trip. Line to center field. Jones in on it, and he has to play it on the hop, and he keeps it in front of him. Well, there's the situation where playing shallow sometimes can benefit you. Jones almost got there, and he holds Everett to a leadoff single.
It's been quite of an adjustment this year for Adam Jones in center field, trying to play shallow and getting beat long. Now he's got to play a little bit farther back. He's trying to find that perfect spot to play in the outfield where he can get to a lot of balls inside, but in the same thing, he really can't be getting beat over his head like he was probably about a month into the season. They start hitting balls over his head, and he has to make that adjustment and find out what it's like here at Camden Yards.
Here's Clete Thomas, leadoff man with a runner on at first. Slaps it foul, and it's 0-1. Thomas, just 25 years old, popped up the shortstop his first at bat. Orioles on the move after the game. They will head west. They'll be in Seattle tomorrow night to begin a West Coast trip through Seattle and Oakland. 6 games over the next 7 days out west.
Oh, I'm going to miss that trip.
There's a bouncer to first. Huff will take the out at first. 2 men down, and Adam Everett moves up to second base. Well, how you turn things around, here's how you do it. The Orioles on this homestand are 5-1. Starters have gone 4-0 with a very impressive ERA, 3.86. The bullpen has the other win and the 1 loss, 2.14 the ERA, as the bullpen really has pitched well. And look at the team batting. That's in 6 games, a 3.47 average with 11 home runs. So you combine the pitchers giving up fewer runs and the hitters scoring more runs, and that's how you get on a roll.
That's how you get on a roll, is right. You've got to blend it all. You know, the pitching has to be good, the hitting has to be timely, the defense has to be well. When it all starts to come together for the Orioles like it has this week, they can afford, they're going to do that. They're going to put 5- and 6-game streaks together. And it's just a matter of keeping those starting pitchers out on the mound. That's what I love about these young kids they're aggressive, they're energetic, they're strong, they're durable, they're guys that can go deep into ball games. Just a matter now of getting enough experience to know what they're doing to keep them in those games.
Santiago slices it to left. Scott, a long run, and he runs it down for the out. Oh, Luke Havell-Week, even defensively, he runs him down. Base hit, a man left. Well, home run derby, even the little leaguers want to play. No score at Oriole Park.
his 4 at-bats and trying to be productive at the plate. But Matt Wieters, in typical fashion, showed up 2 hours early still to the park and was watching film. Jim?
All right, Amber, thank you very much. So here is Wieters. Zahn will follow, then Andino. Matt last night picked up his first 2 major league hits. So now he can just settle in, and let's take a look back. And how often is your first major league hit a triple?
Not very often. Boy, he almost hits this ball out of the ballpark. It just hits the bottom of the wall 410 feet away. And you could see him cruise into third base. I don't know that he's ever done that.
Pops it up, shallow center field. Everett is out and angling away from the sun in this tough sky for the fielders today. He's got it for the out and 1 down. Well, Matt Wieters retired, and Edwin Jackson has retired 7 in a row on this lovely day at Camden Yards, and a good crowd on hand as the Orioles close it out. There's a tremendous amount of excitement building for the Orioles because of the homestand success and the youngsters who have come up and made an impact.
Well, you know, it's things that you really work for, and especially in this organization and in this division, you know, you almost have to draw people out of your minor league system because not too many of the free agents want to come to the Baltimore Orioles, considering they have to play the Yankees and then the Boston Red Sox and now Toronto Blue Jays and Tampa Bay. They want to go to those divisions that are much easier to play in.
Greg Zahn starting behind the plate today. 3 out of 12 career against Jackson. He's on 2 out of 10 on this homestand. He fouls it back 1 and 2.
You know, I've had some talks with him over the last couple of days because that time came here, and he kind of knew it when he came and signed his contract with the Orioles. They told him as soon as Matt Wieters was going to be ready to come to the big leagues, he was going to have to take a back seat. Well, you know, I tried to refresh his memory on what an impact he's had already in this organization, just to do the little things that he's done defensively that have been so impressive. We haven't had that over the last 6-7 years, a catcher to be able to go back there and communicate with the staff and do a lot of the things that he's done. He should be very proud of that, and just realize that 37 and going on 38 years old, there comes a time when you have to deal with this sort of thing.
Well, the backup catcher, as you certainly know, half your career spent in that role. It is so important to the team because the regular has to get 1 at least day off, usually 2, and you have to have somebody go in there that at a minimum can handle a pitching staff, because that's the big job for a backup.
Well, it's comfortable for the manager to know that when he takes a guy like Matt Wieters out of the lineup, that he can trust the catcher that he's going to put back there, that he's going to be able to run the game properly and know it. He's already seen the little things that he can do: block home plate, which is one of the best in all of baseball, block the balls, you know, keep guys from running, that sort of thing, and handle that pitching staff. It's so important.
Well, 2 down on the strikeout to Zahn. That is 3 Ks for Edwin Jackson. And here is Robert Andino, who had a 4-hit game the other day, 4 out of 6 overall on this homestand, giving Cesar Estouras a day off, and he takes ball 1 low. The Orioles 5-1 on the homestand. The Birds have won 7 of their last 9 games. And that has enabled the Orioles to get back even in the month of May, as Andino skies it to right. Cleet Thomas is there towards the line, has it for the out, and a 3rd consecutive 3-up, 3-down inning. We'll head to the 4th. The pitcher's in control. No score. Mora T-shirt Tuesday. First 10,000 fans 15 and over will receive a Melvin Mora T-shirt. Plus every Tuesday, Ollie's Bargain Night presented by Ollie's Bargain Outlet. So the upper reserve seats just $8. To get your tickets, 888-848-BIRD or online at Orioles.com. And as part of Orioles Reach, Melvin has some youngsters here today. Tickets that he has purchased, all part of Melvin's Amigos. And they had a big ovation as they were put on the center field scoreboard earlier. So the fans having popcorn and soda and Melvin Mora T-shirts and having a grand old time at the ballpark. As Maglio Ordonez takes ball one.
Melvin is so much fun, you know, when the team is playing well and he's playing good. He's always so much fun. He's talking to the fans all the time and intermingling with them. That's something that you don't see a lot of players do nowadays, Jim.
Well, he is without a doubt having a good time. On the way into work today, Melvin and I live in the same town, and we each go to the same convenience store for coffee for the ride in. And he always gets there an hour ahead of me, which I have to hear every day. Here's the pitch Ordonez fouled back. But anyway, the proprietor of the store today told me that when Melvin came in, she did the enactment of him running the bases on Reimold's game-winning home run the other day, where he was jumping up and down with his hands, and she said the smile on his face went from ear to ear. He was so excited about how the Orioles were playing. And then some other guy in there getting coffee said, "Hey, how about that Luke Scott guy? He's doing pretty well, isn't he?" And he goes, "Isn't it great? We're talking about the Orioles. That Andy McFarland's doing a great job." I mean, there's a lot of excitement out there. And Melvin, look, you see he's smiling on the bench, and he's really coming on now. He was off to a slow start coming off the DL, but he's hitting 5 in a row. As Ordonez hits it to Markakis in right. And one away.
Do you guys have a team meeting there every morning?
No, he's always there an hour ahead of me. I'm not going to go early just to see him.
So when you're saying you're an hour late, huh?
No. Okay, well, you guys know me too well. I'm usually pushing the envelope.
You know, I do. I know what you mean, because back in our heyday, you know, with the Eddie Murrays and the Singletons and all the guys that we used to have, Flanagan and Palmer, it was all places I used to go in the morning for breakfast. You would have your bacon and eggs here, and you'd have lunch here at different places, and everybody was so interested in Oriole baseball. And, you know, we were a real big-time winning ball club back then, and everybody, too, is that same excitement settles in wherever you go, and they expect you to show up every single day. Where you been? They'd be mad at you if you didn't come.
Granderson gets in the one to deep right center field. Jones back on it. Markakis back, and that ball is gone. It gets out of here for a home run. Granderson hits his 13th, and the Tigers grab a 1-0 lead.
You know, Granderson is amazing. He's opened a lot of eyes. He's an extra base machine, too. And the kind of home runs that he's putting up now, the numbers, is amazing. That pitch is down and away, and he still pulls the ball a little bit, just to go to show you how much power he really has. Watch this. He gets that back leg into it. He gets it out. You know, he just has a home run swing and I wouldn't call him a big guy either. He's just got very quick bat.
Well, you saw the swings on Famous Dave's Exmo. Come on into Famous Dave's for the best tasting, most award-winning ribs in America. Well, the first home run allowed by Birkin in his 2 big league starts. Jeff Larish up. And there's a strike, and it's 0-2. Of course, the Orioles still lead the American League in home runs allowed. That is number 72 on the year. The Tigers, as a club, 7th. That is their 55th. So they're right in the middle of the pack in the American League in home runs. Just off the plate inside, a ball and 2 strikes.
You know, I don't want to say that it's always a good thing to get behind in a ball game, but Birkin is one of those kind of pitchers, though, that once he gives up a run or two, then he really starts to bear down and make better pitches, and it's very, very tough to get a lot of runs off a guy like that.
Well, breaking ball hit the other way by Larish. That was a defensive swing, and he finds a hole and down the left field line as a 1-out single. Back-to-back hits in this 4th inning. The home run now a single by Jeff Larish, who is 1 out of 2.
You see, he tried to get that breaking ball away on the outside corner, because Larish looks like he's going to be a pull hitter, a guy who really tries to pull a lot. But he fooled me right there. He went with that pitch pretty well down on the outside corner. Didn't try to hook the ball down in the right field corner. He ends up with that base hit to left field. It's a pretty good swing. I got to keep a better eye on guys like that.
A 1-out base runner for Brandon Inge, who is the veteran on this team. Career Tiger. Takes a strike in the outside corner. Brandon Inge was drafted by the Tigers in 1998. He is now 32 years old. He came up as a catcher, then moved to third base, then back behind the plate, now back at third base.
You know, he's played all three outfield positions too: left field, center field, right field. This guy, you know, he knows how to play the game at every position. He knows how important defense is. You know, he's just amazing. He's a pretty good all-around player. He's like the ultimate utility man you can use anywhere, only plays every day.
Birkin gets ahead, no balls and 2 strikes. Long look to first, and it's just outside, so he couldn't entice Inge to chase. And there are those pitchers that we talk about, the pitches when the youngsters come up in the minor leagues. The hitter might chase that pitch, but it wasn't good enough, so Inge just let it go by for a ball.
You got a lot of veteran guys like that aren't going to go fishing for those kind of. Down to minor leagues, they swing at them when they're behind in the count, but not up here.
Here's the 1-2. It's fouled back.
I love this center field camera angle that you get to see, because it's right behind the right shoulder of the pitcher, Birkin, and you get to see just how much movement he has on the ball, and how when Zahn moves to the outside corner, he's always in and around where the glove is. You know, very good control, which is why he's here right now.
Another 1-2 pitch coming to Brandon Inge, instead of toss to first. Larish does not have a steal. Tigers have done pretty well on the bases this year. They have 28 steals, and they have been caught only 12 times. That's a 70% success rate. Of course, the Orioles have had troubles gunning down potential base stealers all season. 1-2 inside, and it hit him. It came too far inside on the fastball. So down to first base goes Brandon Inge, and 2 on with 1 out.
Well, that was kind of uncharacteristic. I think this one just kind of got away from him a little bit. He was heading for the inside corner, and it just kind of scooted a little bit on that, caught some of the shirt of Brandon Inge. So
Rick Kranitz out for a visit. Calm down Jason Birkin. We mentioned Jason was not in spring training with the Orioles, although he did appear in a couple of games with the Birds when the Orioles were over in Fort Myers. He came down from the minor league camp, and Dave Schmidt, the Orioles pitching coordinator in the minor leagues, told me a story that late in camp in Sarasota, they were shagging, and Dave was with Jason, and that was the day that Jason found out that he would be returning to Bowie. And if you look at that staff last year, Bergeson went 15-6. He started the year in AAA. Hernandez was 10-4. He went to AAA. Tillman was 11-4. He went to AAA. And then you had Jason Birkin was 12-4, and he was going back to AA, where he finished the year. Here's Anderson outside 1-0, and Dave explained to Jason Birkin that it wasn't any form of punishment why he was going to begin the year at AA. It was simply because they needed to slot the pitchers in a way that they would all get their work in and that would all get their innings. And it didn't mean he was going to be there all year. And as it turned out, he made only 2 starts before he was promoted to AAA. But the thing about it was this ball's lifted to left, playable for Scott, and 2 men down. The thing about it was the attitude of Jason Birkin. He understood what Dave Schmidt told him. He understood that it's all about opportunity. It's all about getting your work done. And when Brad Bergeson was called up to the big leagues, Birkin went to AAA, took his spot, and now he's here. So he showed the good attitude. He went out. He worked hard. Was not pouting about going back to AA. It was all about getting to Baltimore. And it doesn't matter where you are when they make the phone call.
And you're right about one thing. They go down there. It doesn't matter AA or AAA, because we're so stacked up in pitchers right now. You got to give everybody their due opportunity. But he can come to the big leagues just as good. In fact, he can get here a heck of a lot quicker. Bowie's right down the street.
Yeah, just hop in the car.
That's right.
Gerald Laird takes a strike, but you like to hear that about guys. And he's 25 years old, a 6th-round pick. He's already been through surgery. Pitched in big-time college baseball at Clemson. That one's foul bagging.
You know, you always talk about, all the minor league guys. You love looking at their stats and everything. You're really up on that. But when you stop and think about it, in this organization now, they're setting up that AAA with a lot of good young starting pitching. They got to have the same kind of guys at AA ball. That's why Birkin was down there. But you got guys like Jake Arrieta, 4-3 on the season. He's supposed to be the best of them all. That's what the scouts say. He's struggling a little bit at a 2.9 ERA. He's struggling. That makes you kind of laugh a little bit to show what direction this organization. Chris Tillman, who's 5-0 with a 2.1. Troy Patton 6-1 with a 1.7, second in the league. Brian Mattis. Listen to those names, Jim, and the kind of records and the kind of things that they're doing. And the ERAs are phenomenal. You don't worry so much about the win-loss records, but you do worry about the ERAs and what these young guys are capable of doing. It is just such a joy to hear about all the pitching-rich organizations or the teams that we have down there, AA and AAA.
Nice block by Greg Zahn to prevent a wild pitch and keep the runners where they are.
See this ball in the dirt again. That's one thing he's very good at. You know, I have to give credit to my younger brother for teaching him the mechanics of blocking the ball, but somebody had to teach my younger brother.
Here's the 2-2 to Laird, grounded towards shortstop. Andino's there. He will flip to Roberts. That'll force the runner in, and the inning ends. Tigers get a run on the Granderson home run. On top of the lineup coming up, Roberts, Jones, and Markakis. Birds down by a run.
Corner. Families can enjoy games, a moon bounce, a newly enhanced climb and play area, and much more. There's even a special Orioles merchandise store right here tailored to younger fans. So bring your family to the Oriole Park Kids Corner, located on the ballpark's main concourse level just inside Gate C on the first base side. Jim?
All right, Amber, thank you very much. Here's Brian Roberts leading off in the fourth. I might go get one of those temporary tattoos.
Come on, go get a real one. Man up.
Would I qualify age-wise at the kids' corner, or would they turn me away? Bryant takes inside 1-1. 9 in a row retired by Edwin Jackson to begin this game. Bryant is trying to extend the hitting streak to 8 straight. Jackson has struck out 3 and has 2 ground ball outs and 4 fly ball outs. There's a slider for a strike. Came on the inside corner. And Bryant down 1-2. Bryant's had a very good month of May. Early in the month, he started off slowly, but then really turned it around. And it's outside, 2-2.
I guess everybody's going to go through their hot streaks and their cold streaks, but it's good to see that Bryant is starting to move back in the right direction again, get on base. He's such a good doubles hitter. That's one thing you really notice about him, especially when you're from behind home plate, is that the little guy's got a lot of pop.
There's a bloop to center field. Granderson runs it down. It hung up there just long enough. And Roberts denied a base hit and one away. Well, you talk about balance and how you can win games. What you need is this type of balance. Here are the Orioles in the month of May, and look at the consistency in the runs driven in. Aubrey up as the most with 19, but you have Jones, Markakis, and Luke Scott. all with 18, and Luke has done it in just 12 games. Remember, he was on the DL. Roberts in the leadoff spot has 15, and Nolan Reimold already has 11 in just 15 games in the big league. So tremendous balance top to bottom, and when you have that kind of depth, it doesn't have to be one player night in and night out. Somebody else might pick up the slack that night.
I don't think anybody expected that Nolan Reimold was going to put up the kind of numbers that he has so far. We wanted to take a good look at him, and it's to hope he'd be able to make contact and at least look, like he wasn't intimidated. But he's gone way beyond that already. He's right there in the mix with all of the rookies in the American League in the tops in home runs and RBIs, and he's done an outstanding job so far. And I'm very impressed with how he's handled himself in the outfield too. He looks like a very good defensive player.
Jones pops it up on the 2-0. The second baseman, Santiago, gives way to Larish, and the first baseman has it. You can see they're really having trouble with this high sky. And 2 men down. Well, today's leaderboard presented by Firestone, a tradition of innovation. As Nick Markakis will bat. American League highest batting averages at home, and there are the Orioles, #1 in the American League, batting .307 at Camden Yards. Red Sox always hit well at Fenway. You know about Texas and their ballpark, the Homer Dome, and Toronto at the Rogers Center. And the other thing about that jumps out on the Firestone leaderboard, 3 of those top 5 teams are in the AL East.
Does that surprise you?
Not at all. This is a tough division. Nick lined out to left field, his first at bat. Line drive. There's a base hit to left field, and the Orioles have their first base runner. It comes with 2 down in the 4th. Nick Markakis, when he is swinging well, he'll do that quite often, going the opposite way.
Well, what's one thing you look for out of Nick is, to be able to go with the pitch on the outside. And I know that as of late, it seems like you're going to get a little break with Nick Markakis because he hasn't been getting as many base hits as you normally see him get. I mean, he's one of those guys early on in the season that was carrying the ball club. But, you just got to keep your wits about you, because if you make a mistake with him, he can make you pay at any time.
Aubrey Huff bounces it foul outside of first. This is the first time today Edwin Jackson is pitching from the stretch. Aubrey bounced out his first at bat. Every team the Orioles play have some version of an Aubrey Huff defense. The Tigers don't dramatically overshift, but they do slightly with the second baseman and shortstop. You see the second baseman Santiago towards the hole, and Everett, the shortstop, is up the middle, but he is on the shortstop side of second base. Tampa Bay is the most dramatic of the teams that do the shift. They put their second baseman out in shallow right field and the shortstop over by second base.
And it's a mystery to me why they would want to do that, because he's not a dead pull hitter. He's the kind of guy that'll go with the pitch off a lot of times too, and that's when he really gets in his best groove, is when he's hitting the ball the opposite way. We saw that in his pinch hit appearance when he played the Nationals. He pinch hits a triple to left center field. When Tampa Bay was putting that shift on Jim, he was hitting the ball down the third base line, and they still refused to make the adjustment. So, Aubrey Huff can beat the defense at times when you give him that opportunity.
He's ahead in the count, 2-1, and you see the defense. There's a lot of room there, right towards second base umpire Larry Vanover. Markakis takes his lead. Fouled straight back. Oh, did he have a good cut at that? Fouls it straight back, and the count evens up at 2-2.
We did at Dempsey's dugout with Aubrey Huff yesterday, and we got into a little bit about talking about the mechanics of hitting and what really makes a difference with him. And he got with Crow. He gives Terry Crowley all the credit for helping him see that, what gets him out of the groove is when he starts charging the ball, when he starts to see it. There's my old roomie, Terry Crowley. This guy is the best hitting instructor in all of baseball. He's worked with some of the greatest hitters in the game, and it's fun to see what he can do with a guy who just has some talent. But Aubrey is really convinced that Terry Crowley is one of the reasons why he has done so well since he's been here, is staying back and seeing the ball. And Aubrey Huff just loves hitting here at Camden Yards. He loves that short porch in right field because he can hit it up on the flag court even when he doesn't hit it on the left side of the label.
Well, 2-2 the count on Huff with Markakis on at first in this one-run game. Popped up foul. That'll be back in the crowd, out of play. Well, the thing about Terry Crowley that makes him such an effective and consistent hitting coach is that he doesn't try to make his hitters the hitter he wants them to be. he tries to help his hitters become the best hitter that they can be. And there's a big difference in there. He does not force his philosophies. He encourages, he suggests, but he tries to take whatever you're good at and make that better.
He does. He takes a hitter. It doesn't matter if he's big and he's strong. If his swing is not a home run swing, then he tries to make a pure hitter out of the guy by making him go the opposite way, adjusting to the breaking ball. And this is what he did with Adam Jones. Adam Jones was having trouble with the breaking ball the first half of his first season last year. He said, you know, you're going to have to learn to hit the ball the opposite way if you're going to experience any success. Don't worry about it. The power will come. And it was like those words are written in stone, because look what it's done to Adam Jones this season.
Fastball high, 3-2. Very good at bat by Aubrey Huff as he has worked the count full, and this will give the Orioles an advantage. Markakis will get a head start on the full count with 2 men down, and the first baseman Jeff Larish now will play behind the runner with Huff, the left-handed batter, in the box. 300 batting average in this situation with a full count for Aubrey Huff. Markakis leading as far as the fielder. There goes Nick. And swing and a miss. He got him. Came in with a breaking ball. And Huff down on strikes. Base hit, a man left. We played 4. And the Tigers have a 1-0 lead.
Fate, he's dealing with that circulatory issue that affected his middle finger and his throwing hand. Well, he is feeling a bit better. He is expected to be in a throwing program on Friday down in Bowie. Then he will go to Sarasota, where June 19th he will begin throwing off a mound, and then sometime in early July it's expected he will go on a rehab assignment. Jim?
Amber, is there any talk or speculation that Koji might eventually be moved into the bullpen? Because in Japan he was so effective, and now the Orioles have all these young starters they're getting a look at.
Well, Dave Tremblay was asked that question before the game today, and his answer was, we'll see how it plays out. I think Dave doesn't want to answer that question until he sees how these young players pan out. If they do earn a right to stay in the rotation, we could very well see Koji go into the bullpen, although that hadn't been ruled out, putting him in the bullpen versus starting him. Neither had been ruled out just yet. Jim?
Well, you can make the suggestion, I don't know if it's an argument, a suggestion that Koji could be so effective in that role, because for 5 innings he has been lights out. And what a weapon it would be if a starter gets knocked out early. You go in there, you have Koji, hey, get me the last 4 innings. He could stay in, and that's it. You don't have to use another pitcher.
Yeah, I know Koji came to us, and he was a closer with his ball club, the Yomiuri Giants, in Japan. And I think it's just going to take him a little while before he increases his endurance level again. And it's so different to be a closer as opposed to being a starter. And he's done an outstanding job as a starter because he's one of the most consistent ones that we've had up until we bring these young guys up. It's got to be a tough decision to make, because look at George Sherrill and what George has done and the adjustment that he's made. I mean, 6 perfect outings in a row out of the bullpen. This is what we've been wanting out of George for a long time.
2-2 is inside. Well, you look at a game like last night. Guthrie goes 6 innings. It's a 3-3 game when he leaves. That might be a spot where if Koji is in the bullpen, you tell Koji, okay, go finish it out. You pitch the 7th, you pitch the 8th, you pitch the 9th. And that's a night, especially today, it's a day game after a night game. You don't have to go to the back end of the bullpen, guys. Just a thought. And, you know, what you're talking about here is options.
Right.
And that's
a great option to have. You're right.
Roberts plays that hard smash and 1 down. And it's good to have more pitchers for spots, in particular versatile pitchers, than sitting around in a meeting room going, hey, who do we got to buoy? This is why this organization really has turned the corner, because there is depth and there's quality options to go to.
You know you're sitting in a pretty good spot when you have so much inter-team rivalry, and that's what this will create. I mean, if Koji wants to be the closer, then he's going to compete against George Sherrill. That's the guy. But right now, I like him as a starter.
Roberts plays that hot smash and 2 down on 2 balls hit to Brian Roberts. So Jason Birkin, after allowing the home run and 2 other base runners in the 4th, has settled down. Now there's David Hernandez on the right and Brad Bergeson on the left. That's the other thing I'm beginning to notice on this homestand with all these young guys coming up. They were teammates at Bowie, teammates in AAA. They have their own little gang now. It's the young guys club. And they're all very respectful. And, when you're here every day and you observe tendencies, I've enjoyed watching them mingle, but they're very respectful of the veterans who have already been here. And I think that's very important. There's a tapper out in front of the plate. It'll roll foul. You have to, it's one thing to get here. It's another thing to stay here and be productive. And I think they all know that, and it's good to see.
Well, you hit on a little key there, too. They're very respectful. And I think one thing they realize is what great tradition we've had here for such a long time, with Brooks Robinson and his group coming in, with Frank Robinson and Boog Powell and all those guys passing the baton down to, Palmer and Flanagan, McGregor, and Eddie Murray and Cal Ripken. We were such a tough organization, such a good organization for so long. We've been on the rocks here for a couple of years now and everything, but it looks as if things are going to change back again, and we're establishing ourselves. But these young guys, you're right, Jim, they do show a lot of respect.
1-2 the count. And it's outside 2-2. And as these players begin to make their way towards the big leagues, guys like Jason Birkin, Nolan Reimold now is the everyday left fielder on this club. The turnover towards youth, and it's because they are better options at the moment for the ball club, and that's what it's all about. The 2-2 is bounced towards first. Aubrey Huff plays a tough hop, knocks it down, and gets it to Birkin. And that's why you hit the first base. You never assume the first baseman's going to play in cleanly. 3 up, 3 down, middle of the 5th, and a 1-0 Tiger lead.
And then Reggie, if he can come through with one more today. So we're looking forward to seeing Luke Scott's next at bat here at Baltimore's Camden Yards in just a moment.
Well, beautiful day at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, and a 1-0 Tiger lead on, coincidentally, a home run. Curtis Granderson hit it out in the fourth. Orioles held to just one base hit. That was Nick Markakis in the fourth inning, last inning, and that came with 2 men down. So Wigginton, Luke Scott, and then Matt Wieters here against Edwin Jackson, who is pitching a fine game. And that one's low, 1-0. Jackson is coming off a loss Tuesday at Kansas City. Wigginton getting his start at third today. Bounced out his first at bat. And the 1-0 is popped up.
He gets that fastball, and he's ready to jump on that fastball anytime that he sees it. A little bit up in the strike zones. He's a little bit over-aggressive outside the zone. It's just something that Wigginton is going to have to fight for the rest of his career. He's a very hard swinger and a guy who loves to jump on first ball, fastball all the time. He got in a pretty good groove on the last road trip, but as of now, he's got to fight to get back in that lineup on a regular basis. He's got to fight to keep from over-swinging.
So Wigginton pops up to first base for the out, and here is Luke Scott. Everyone anxiously awaiting each at bat for Luke, and he fouls it off.
If you're going to get by on Luke Scott nowadays, you've got to make pitches, because anything in and around the middle of that plate, you are in trouble.
Well, the numbers his first 29 games, and then 4 since coming off the disabled list, and just those are rotisserie kind of numbers you see Luke Scott putting up. I mean, he has been in such a zone. Oh, one is fouled back. He was right on that. It's 0-2. And Luke, home run in 4 consecutive games. He has 8 home runs this month.
Now, this is the kind of count, Jim, where you would see the pitchers throw in off the plate to try to move him out of that foothold that he has in that batter's box and try to unsettle him, try to get him from balancing the swing.
Tried to get in the chase an off-speed breaking ball. Luke laid off, 1-2. The Orioles are 4th in the American League in home runs, and again, that's in part because of the balance that they have in the lineup. Luke Scott has 11. Adam Jones has 11. 1-2 the count with 1 out, none on. And he got him. High fastball. Scott couldn't reach, and 2 men down. Well, fans, don't forget about the Cal Ripken All-Stars. They'll be hosting the Valley Baseball League All-Stars in the Mid-Atlantic Classic July 15th at Regency Furniture Stadium in Waldorf. Come on out and catch where Orioles Aubrey Huff, Luke Scott, Chris Ray, and L.J. Hose all launch their careers. Or you can see the game live on MASN HD. Game time 7:05. Get out early for the Home Run Derby at 5:30. Admission is free, but your donation is greatly appreciated. Get online, RipkenSeniorCollegeBaseball.org, or call 410-588-9900 for more information. And here is Matt Wieters DHing today. Swings through it. It's 0-2.
Well, one thing I noticed about Edwin Jackson, Jim, is his consistency at strike one and how important that really is. Here's a guy that used to be so wild all the time that you just never really knew how long he was going to last in a ball game. He kind of settled down in 2007 and started to put some consecutive scoreless innings together. He had 20 scoreless innings in one stretch where he worked a little bit more out of the bullpen. But that's really what made them say, you know what, we need to try him as a starter again. Then with Tampa Bay last year, 14 wins, which was a career high for him. And it just seemed to did things to him and build his confidence so much now that he's tough. He works fast, and he throws a lot of strikes.
5 strikeouts, no walks in this game. And his averages for walks this year versus his career numbers are down 2 walks per game. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Wieters, and he got him. Another strikeout, back-to-back Ks, and that is 6 in the game for Edwin Jackson. Orioles go 3 up, 3 down for a 4th time, and the Tigers hold a 1-0 lead. much more. You can get your copy now here at Oriole Park. Get online, purchase one at Orioles.com, or call 888-848-BIRD. Always popular for the fans, as young as that young man out with Dad. And wearing the cartoon bird hat, which is very, very popular with the youngsters. It's Little League Day here at Camden Yards. A lot of kids in attendance. There's a buzz around the ballpark. Thousands of Little Leaguers here today. And here's Maglio Ordonez to lead off for Detroit against Jason Burkin, who's pitching a fine game. And this ball's hit the deep right center field. Markakis back on it. On the warning track, he runs it down. Oh, Markakis had it timed all the way, and Maglio Ordonez just missed a home run.
Well, you got to be on your toes when Ordonez is up there because he's got so much power, and Nick Markakis gets an excellent jump on this ball and just kind of makes it look easy. Not an easy play, but he makes it look easy. Got a beat on it. You see him looking at that ball, and it just nice and easy. Cruise in there and catch it.
Well, Markakis runs it down in the gap. One away. And Curtis Granderson takes a strike. Granderson, the difference in this game. His home run, his last at bat, the only run in this game, and a 1-0 Tigers lead. This ball's popped up towards third. Wigginton backs up, and he has it as Granderson sawed off by Jason Burkin at 2 down.
There's Jim Leyland, and you got to be very respectful of this man, the kind of numbers that he's put up in this organization. And when he was with the Florida Marlins also, he 1990, 91, 92, his team finished first in their division. 1997 World Series winner with the Marlins. He chewed the boys out a little bit. He was a little bit upset after that second loss to the Orioles the other night, and since then Detroit, of course, they won last night 6-3, and they're up this game 1-0. He's very happy about the way Mr. Jackson is throwing today.
Jim Leyland came through the Tigers system. He was a longtime minor league manager, and then Sparky Anderson took over the big league club, and it looked like he wouldn't have a chance in Detroit. He was very good friends with Tony La Russa, and so he left and went to the White Sox and became the third base coach for Tony La Russa. In fact, Jim Leyland was coaching third base in 1983 when the Orioles beat the White Sox in the ALCS, and he made a name for himself there with Tony La Russa, who at the time was a bright young manager. Now he's simply one of the best managers ever, but Leyland certainly is in that category.
What a funny little story about the playoffs. We played the White Sox, had an unbelievable year. I think they won 120 games that season. And then they threw at Eddie Murray in the playoffs, and Eddie comes up that next at bat and hits a 3-run home run. And I looked down at Leyland when I walked by. I said, "You really did want to throw at Eddie?" I mean, that's a stupid. He just rolled his eyes at me, and I remember laughing, and he laughed. So I guess you had to be there.
3-2 on Jeff Larry. No, but it's a good point, because in the heat of being competitive, sometimes you pick the wrong guy.
One guy you never want to throw at is Eddie Murray, because he just would come. He would get locked in. He wasn't an aggressive guy, getting a fight with you. Anything that he made you pay for it with a bat, and that's where you didn't want it.
Well, 3-2 on Larish, batting with 2 outs and none on. And it's outside, ball 4. Close pitch, and Larish draws the walk. That is the first walk allowed by Jason Burkin today. As you look in from center field here at Oriole Park. It looks like it's from our jib camera just above the bullpens.
Well, that's another statistic, Jim, that you notice that sticks right out when you look at these guys coming up from the minor leagues. They don't walk very many people. They don't put people on base when they get hurt. They have that where they just limit the amount of damage that is done to them.
Brandon Inge swings through a slider. That was a good call by Zahn. Inge with that fastball swing, and the ball broke under his bat. Burkin has allowed 4 hits, 1 a solo home run. And there's a loop towards the middle, and Andino gets over it, grabs it for the out. So 2-out walk and a man left. We're into the bottom of the 6th. Beautiful day in the Inner Harbor. Berg's looking for a run. Southwest Airlines. Book your next trip at southwest.com. And by Honda. You can depend on your Honda dealer for great leases and low financing. Couldn't ask for a better day here at Oriole Park, and a good game. Pitcher's duel. As seen through the eyes of that young man. Backwards. In the shades. Greg Zong pulls it foul. Zong was right on that. 0-1.
And he gets in those modes, you know, when he hasn't gotten a few hits, just to look first pitch fastball. And doesn't matter where it is. If it's anywhere near the zone, he's going to be hacking at it.
Zong struck out his first at bat. Jackson has struck out 6 in this game. And that one's outside.
You know, I'm really impressed with the way he has become a better left-handed hitter than he was a right-hand hitter. You know, as a young kid, I remember him running around the yard all the time and playing in Little League Baseball. He was always a right-hand hitter. Now he's a better left-hand hitter than he ever was a right-hander.
Pops it up left of the mound. Brandon Inge now behind the mound. Has it for the out and 1 away. 1 base runner in this game for the Orioles, and they're batting in the 6th inning. Big crowd on hand, 32,233 on Little League Day.
I think what Edwin Jackson is trying to do is trying to lower that ERA, Jim, that he has against the Orioles. Although he has a 2-1 record, he has that. His ERA against our ball club is over 8. That's pretty fat.
5 games in his career against the Orioles coming into today. Of course, with Tampa Bay in the division, some more opportunities to see the Orioles as Andino takes ball 1. Now, one thing that he has done this year, Rick, that has really enabled him to become more consistent has been keeping the ball in the ballpark. He's allowed 5 home runs on the year. However, Jackson over his last 6 starts has allowed just 1 home run. And what that forces your opposition to do is try to rally, group those hits, and it's a little more difficult to score than on 1 swing.
Well, if you talk to Jim Palmer, he'd tell you exactly why it happens. Now, you could see Edwin Jackson. He stays on top and he throws downhill. When you do that, the ball's going to stay down in the strike zone. The more you keep it down, the less opportunity you give the big hitters a chance of just making contact, hitting the ball out of the ballpark. He throws downhill. That's when you notice you keep your arm up and you throw downhill, and he is a big guy. You're going to throw better strikes in those situations.
Well, Andino works the walk with 1 down, so the Orioles get another base runner. Jackson, for only a 2nd batter in this game, will work from the stretch against Brian Roberts. So the 3rd time through the lineup now as Andino walks to turn over the lineup. See if the Orioles can get to Edwin Jackson on this beautiful day at Oriole Park. Roberts right on that and fouls it back. Well, if you believe in the numbers, and the numbers are accumulated over the 10 starts Jackson has made, the batting averages against him increase, favor the hitters each time through the lineup. He's very good the first time through. He's pretty good the 2nd time through, and then hitters are batting .333 against them the 3rd time through. So let's see who wins the adjustment battle here. Andino runs, pitches high, throw to second by Laird, and he is out. So Andino caught trying to steal. Gerald Laird with a perfect throw that erases the base runner and 2 men out.
Yeah, it's one thing that he really does well. He throws very well, and you can tell he stays on top of the ball, and he puts this ball just inside the bag. I mean, it couldn't have been more perfect than that right there. But you know, he threw out 36.6% of his runners since 03 in the major leagues. That's the 2nd best in the American League. So this guy can throw. You got to pick your spots off of him. He's a pretty good thrower.
That is one part of the game of Edwin Jackson in which he has had trouble this year. There have been 12 steals against him. That is half the number against the Tigers. Roberts towards the right field corner. That ball is hooking and is fouled. So Brian will come back. He's trying to extend the hitting streak to 8 consecutive games. Jackson has struck out 6. His season high is 7 Ks. Bases empty and 2 down now for Roberts. Three separate games this year he has had 7 strikeouts. Hard hit ball, pulled foul. Brian has had 3 good swings in this at bat, all foul balls.
He's just hitting the ball so solid, but he's just getting out on the ball a little bit too quick. He's got to slow it down, keep his hands inside the ball for just a second longer, and he'd have his usual double.
Brian twice has flied out to center field. The last one in the 4th inning was a sinking liner that Granderson caught. Slowly at the second base, right there is Santiago. He'll get it to first, and the inning ends. So the 1-out walk and none left. We played 6, and the Tigers holding on to a 1-0 lead.
Mowing them down here at Camden Yard on a beautiful sunshiny day. They're having a lot of fun, but the offense is not. Detroit leads it 1-0.
And there are the lines. Each pitcher threw 6 innings, only 1 run in the game on the home run by Granderson. 4 hits for Birkin, just 1. A Markakis single by Jackson. And 2 strikeouts to a walk for Birkin, 6 strikeouts to a walk for Edwin Jackson.
Boy, Jackson has just been so tough. He's keeping the ball down. Orioles are going to have to figure him out before the day's over.
Breaking ball to Josh Anderson is outside as he showed bunt. Josh Anderson came through the Atlanta Braves organization. Outside ball 2 with a fastball.
Like I said, so much fun when you work a pitcher like Birkin. He's having a pretty good day. He's given up a couple of hits, but, he works that strike zone. Greg Zahn doesn't have to move the glove around too much, but every now and then you'll see it down the middle of the plate when he's trying to get that movement to the corner. So he knows where to put the glove. I used to tell him it's like talking to the pitcher with your glove. Wherever he puts the target doesn't mean that's exactly where he wants it to end up, but he knows there's the movement, and you saw it right there. Ended up right on the outside corner.
Swept to Brian Roberts. He gets to the first, 1 down. Let's head down and visit with Amber.
Want to check in on some news and notes from around the major leagues. The Indians will be losing their center fielder Grady Sizemore to the disabled list. He is suffering from left elbow soreness. Also, Zach Greinke today is going for his major league best 9th win for the Royals. Right now, the Royals are leading the White Sox 3-1 in the 3rd. Greinke's ERA is .84 right now, and he's just the 8th pitcher since 1913 to have an ERA under 1 after 10 starts. Jim?
All right, Amber, thank you very much. And he's the only pitcher left in baseball where if he gives up 1 run, his ERA goes up.
I know it.
Everyone else just goes down.
If you've not seen him pitch, you have got to come out to the ballpark to see Zach Greinke. I mean, 5 or 6 years ago when I saw him, I can't remember even what year, when I was coaching first base. When you watch that kid, when he first came to the big leagues, he changed speeds. He had every pitch: fastball, curveball, slider, changeup, split finger, fork. He threw them all over for strikes. Threw them anytime. he was so much fun to watch. And then he ran into those little troubles. He had some psychological problems on, off the field, whatever. You know, but he said, gosh, I'd love to have him in an Oriole uniform. I just love the way he pitches. Boy, he's putting up the huge numbers this year in KC.
2-1 pitch, swung on and missed. Well, if you want to follow Rick's suggestion and come out and possibly see Zach Greinke, you might have an opportunity, because the Royals will be here at Camden Yards for a 4-game series in late July, 27th through the 30th. So there's 5 starters. You got a pretty good shot with a 4-game series. Just outside. So Gerald Laird has worked the count to 3-2. Sam Holbrook's done a great job behind the plate today. He has been very consistent, and the pitchers have been attacking the strike zone, both Jackson and Birkin.
Yeah, when you don't even know there's an umpire there, he's doing a real good job.
1-out walk as Gerald Laird gets on. You know, Rick, just watching this week, seeing Bergeson pitch so well the other night, and Birkin now for a second start, and what David Hernandez did the other night. One of the things that is striking about this crop of youngsters coming through the minor leagues is these guys are not afraid of pitching to contact. They're not nibbling. How refreshing is that? How often have you and I over the past few years have seen somebody come up, David Hernandez?
Well, Hernandez also, yeah.
They're not nibblers. They say, look, they have an idea. They know what they want to do. They challenge the hitters. And if you put the ball in play, good things can happen because you got fielders behind you.
I think they're really focused. You know, they really know what they're trying to accomplish out there. And they don't seem to be intimidated like you say, but you don't see that first year nervousness and that edginess that young guys come in. They're real quiet. They'll sit in their locker with their head down. They don't want to draw too much attention to themselves. You know, they're here, their first game in the big leagues. They're going to face big hitters, Ordonez, Cabrera, guys like that. I think they just think, if I go out there and do my job, just throw like I threw in the minor leagues, focus on the catcher and the target and the game plan at hand, and they get the job done. That's what I love about him. The Birkin was in the clubhouse the first game that he was in. He was laughing and joking with the guys that he knows, and they've made him feel very comfortable here. Hey, just go out there and play the game and have fun. And that's what you notice first about them.
So Danny Baez beginning to get loose here in the 7th inning. Birkin is closing in on the 100 pitch mark. Just outside. 1-1 the count on the number 9 batter, Adam Everett. Well, for 3 of these players, this is actually a very significant day because the team will head on the road trip after the game. So it is their first getaway day as big leaguers. And when they leave the ballpark, they will be on a bus, but only to the airport.
How about the smile they're going to get on their face, Jim, when they get that little envelope for the first time?
Oh, I forgot about that. That's right, meal money. 1-1 the count. I forgot about that.
They'll get meal money in that little package that they pass out on the airplane. That's probably more money than their paychecks down in the minor leagues.
Well, they get to fly on the charter to Seattle, so that's a big day for a first-time big leaguer, is how the major leaguers travel. And of course, it's a long flight. They have to go cross country to Seattle tonight, but you know they're going to enjoy it, being on there with their teammates. 1-1 on Everett. Breaking balls popped up, slicing foul down the line, and that's going to be back in the crowd and out of play.
You know, Jim, that's a big part of it. That's the fun of coming to the big leagues. Is you get on that airplane and you get to talk to a lot of guys that you watch on television that you've idolized for a long time, the veterans of the game, and you listen to their stories and you might even want to go up and ask them a question here and there about the guy they're going to face, who they're going to hit against, who they're going to pitch against, and it's really a lot of fun. You know, that's where you develop that camaraderie. When the team's winning, everybody's really ready to throw all that information at you, and that's where you learn a lot of stuff.
1-2 pitch is foul back.
I used to love listening to Jim Palmer. I mean, I know how you and I don't like to listen to him all the time.
No comment.
No comment. That's right. No, but I learned so much from Jim Palmer about pitching and hitters and how you have been. And I used to take those kind of things into the ballgame with me. I'll tell you what, it really did help me a lot.
1-2 on Adam Everett. Slice to right. Markakis in on it. Nick has a play. Look at the sun glistening off his sunglasses. A high sky here today and 2 men down. Really, you got to give a lot of credit to these fielders, these pop-ups and fly balls that get up there in the high sky. Just a gorgeous, gorgeous day.
Doesn't get any better than this, Jim. And this is the most beautiful ballpark in all of baseball. I've seen them all. I've played in most of them, except for the new one since I've retired. And this just doesn't get any better. It's the most fan-friendly stadium you're ever going to play in, with the Camden building in the background. And we used to be able to see the Bromo-Seltzer clock. You can't now with the Hilton out there. But, God, it's just gorgeous here.
And that's a fair ball, and Zahn pounces on it and tags out Clete Thomas. What a play by Greg Zahn, alertly seen that ball out in front of the plate. That is fair, and he tags out Thomas. 7th inning stretch here at Oriole Park. The Birds looking for some runs. Coming up to bat, down 1-0.
Doesn't really know what he's doing, so everybody's been alert so far. I mean, you got to give Edwin Jackson some credit too, to be able to stop the Orioles now, the offense, with the kind of pitches that he's making today. That's what Tom Davis was talking about. It's been a pitching duel, yeah, but this guy is having an unbelievable, outstanding day out there against the Orioles.
We hear all the time following baseball that good pitching will shut down good hitting, and we are certainly seeing that today. The Tigers are a first-place team, and over the past 10 days, the Orioles have been as good at the plate as any team in the American League.
Well, a lot of offense, and whether the young guys like Nolan Ryman coming up here and doing what he's doing, already 3 home runs on the homestand, and Luke Scott, he just took control of the Detroit Tigers today. He has not been a factor in the game, striking out twice his first 2 times up, but the Orioles can explode at any time. I'm expecting them to put at least 3 on the board here pretty soon.
Well, Jason Birkin has pitched through 7 innings, only 1 run on 4 hits, so in his second major league start, really nice to see that he pitched actually better than in his first start, in which he got a win.
He was, he's getting locked in there early. Win, lose, or draw, he's had a pretty good day. He's keeping the ball down in the zone, and he's doing just what I said earlier. He's grinding this game out.
And sitting on the bench there's Rich Hill, who is charting for the next game and talking it over on the bench. So the Orioles now will try to get him some runs. The Orioles did have bullpen activity, so we're not sure if Birkin will come out for the 8th. As the Orioles now have Adam Jones set to lead off, then Markakis, and then Aubrey Huff against Jackson, who has held the Orioles scoreless on just 1 hit. And Jones taps it foul.
Well, you could see where Adam Jones is trying to maintain that aggressiveness that's really been the reason why he's had such a good start in this season, first couple of months. He struggled last night swinging at some pitches that are a little out of the zone. He hasn't quite found it yet today. But, it's not that he's swinging bad. It's just they're making excellent pitches on him, very close to the strike zone. They're hard to lay off of.
Adam has struck out. He has popped up. And a good eye takes inside. 1-1 the count. The Tigers starters this year have been absolutely tremendous in their consistency, and Jackson a big part of that in his first year as Jones fouls it off down the right side. The Tigers starting staff as a whole is 22-16. That is 38 decisions out of 48 games for the Tigers. And anytime your starters are getting that many of the decisions, you know it's a good year, because that means they're getting deep enough in games to be around when the game is decided. That's an amazing number. 22 wins, 38 decisions for the Tigers starting staff.
You know, the other night I was over at a restaurant here in Baltimore, Sullivan's new restaurant that opened up. I saw Jim Leland, and I said, Jim, what's the difference in your ball club? Last year you struggled so much to stay in the race, and this year you're leading, you're back on top of the pack. And he talked about how many problems they had with injuries in that organization, just kind of decimated them. They just could not get on track. And this year they got, most of their guys have been healthy. They don't have too many of the guys that are been on the disabled list, and the guys that have been picked up very well by other players in their organization.
Jones has worked the count to 2-2. Tigers have the second best ERA in the American League. Only Seattle is better. There's the 2-2 pop foul, and the other number that jumps out at you is the Tigers pitching as a whole. They have allowed the fewest base hits of any team in the American League.
Well, just think about what their bullpen is capable of doing. I mean, Edwin Jackson's having a pretty darn good day out here today, getting into the bottom of the seventh as easily as he has. And when you think about having a guy like Zumaya waiting to come in the ballgame out there, 101-mile-an-hour fastball, I mean, it's just it's unbelievable, really. And Rodney being able to close it up. Here's another guy that's 95, 96 with the fastball, and and he's starting to pick the pace up as a closer for them too. So. And they've got it all put together, and there's no reason why, if this team stays healthy in their division, they can't win it easily.
You saw Justin Verlander on the Tiger bench, 6 strong innings last night to pick up a win, as he got the Tigers a win in this series. 3-2 to Jones. Is bounced off the pitcher towards the shortstop, and Adam Everett high to first, and out at first base as Larish kept his foot on the bag. So Adam Jones denied a base hit because it hit the pitcher, Edwin Jackson, and bounced right to Adam Everett.
I know this has got to be very frustrating for Adam Jones. He gets that base hit right up the middle. That's what you try to do when you're not getting your hits. And it hits the pitcher on the backside, goes to the shortstop, and they throw him out at first base easy. You just got to shake your head at this point and say, what do I got to do? What do I got to do? Things just aren't going well for Adam Jones the last couple of games.
Markakis takes ball 1. Nick has the only hit in this game. The Orioles have had only 2 base runners and now 6 1/3 innings.
That's the amazing thing about what Jackson is doing. When you can keep this ball club down, only 1 hit, like you say, by Nick Markakis, and the way this club has been swinging the bat, this is a hard thing to do, but he's managing to get the job done.
Nick 1 out of 2. He now has a modest 3-game hitting streak going. That ball sawed off towards right field. Right there is Cleet Thomas, and he has it for the out, and 2 men down in the Orioles' 7th inning. Mark the date, Friday, June 12th. One of the most popular Oriole Park promotions returns. First 25,000 fans 21 and over receive an Orioles floppy hat presented by Miller Lite. This year's reversible hat features the new Oriole Bird logo on one side and the O's cap logo on the other side. So don't miss this annual collector's item. For tickets, 888-848-BIRD or online at Orioles.com. Aubrey Huff now. Aubrey is 0 for 2. One of the 6 strikeouts of Edwin Jackson. Hard hit ball foul behind John Shelby. Aubrey Huff has been a consistent run producer for the Orioles. And this year no different, even though he is traditionally a slow starter.
Well, you look at those numbers up there with Jackson, Jim, and why he's pitching so deep into ball games. What the Orioles are trying to accomplish is the same thing. He's already are only at 84 pitches at this point in the ball game. This is what you call a pitching performance, and he's still throwing as hard as he was. In fact, even harder than he was early in the game. He just threw a 97-mile-an-hour fastball. an amazing 85 pitches, and 53 of them were for strikes.
1-2 is fouled off. Well, he's had only one inning in which he has had to face 4 batters. That was in the 4th inning when Markakis singled with 2 down. In the 6th inning, when Andino worked the 1-out walk, he quickly tried to steal second base and was thrown out. And then Brian Roberts grounded out to end the inning. So in 5 of the first 6 innings, he has faced only 3 batters. And Huff fouls it straight back.
You know, these are the kind of games that you used to see Jim Palmer throw all the time, because one thing Jim could do better than any pitcher of his era was pitch up in the strike zone. He had that good rising fastball, and he had a curveball that you could never sit on because the fastball was so effective. And he could get through 7, 8, 9 innings with that 80 pitch mark, and that's why he threw so many complete ball games, because he could finish a 9-inning game with less than 100 pitches.
Well, the breaking ball gets Aubrey Huff as he swings through it. That is strikeout number 7, and another 3-up, 3-down inning for Edwin Jackson. It's a 1-0 game. A wonderful day of pitching by Jason Birkin is over, and Danny Baez, Rick comes on to try to hold it as is. Orioles still have 2 more at-bats and down by just a run.
Boy, Danny Baez has really seemed to put his season together, too, after having surgery and coming back from that Tommy John. He has been unbelievable. Nobody really ever expected him to be able to regain the velocity that he's been throwing with this year, but it certainly has helped him. 95, 96 mile an hour he's hit so far this season. And you talk about a fastball that moves a little bit, too. He's got it all working for him right now.
Bunt attempt by Santiago. That's a foul ball, as home plate umpire Sam Holbrook said it hit the batter before rolling into fair territory. So Baez comes on. Birkin 7 innings. He allows only 1 run on 4 hits, 2 Ks, 2 walks. He was outstanding.
He has really been amazing. The Orioles thought, well, he was going to get an opportunity to start in spring training and be one of the 5 guys, but it worked in his favor.
Shallow center. Jones moves in on it. Has it for the out and 1 down. So Jason Birkin's ERA now, 2 starts in the big leagues, is 2.25. Baez gets the first out here in the Tiger 8th. For Danny Baez, his 18th appearance, and he is 4-1 out of the bullpen, which means Baez in relief has as many victories as Guthrie has to tie for the team lead. And on good teams, you need pitchers like Danny Baez that can come in a variety of roles. Sometimes he's asked to go 2-3 innings, as he did the other day in that game the Orioles came back and beat the Blue Jays, or in a game like this keep it as is, pitch the 8th, maybe the 9th, or hand it over to George Sherrill.
Well, when it comes to relief pitching, you really do like to have the veteran guys out there. Maybe they're guys that really can't pitch 5, 6, 7, 8 innings anymore, but they're guys that can go out there 2 or 3 innings. They have a knowledge of the mechanics of pitching. They know the league. They still have good power, good strength. The durability may not be there as a starter. Like I was saying at spring training, he got extended himself, you know, by pitching so much in the spring, and then it worked out. It was easy for him to go 1, 2 innings when they decided to put him back in the bullpen, and he's been probably the most consistent bullpen man we've had out there all season long.
2-2 is low, ball 3. Ordonez is hitless on the day. Maglio has grounded out and flied out twice. One out, none on. And the 3-2 pitch is over but low. Very close pitch.
Oh boy, was that ever close. And sometimes his ball moves so much that he didn't get that strike in the bottom part of the zone. Watch where it is. It goes right in at the bottom of the zone and just moves so much it took him out of that 3-2 count. He ends up walking that hitter.
Now on pitch tracks, if you looked at the front part of that, it was a strike. But then when Zahn caught it, it was below the strike zone, but it's supposed to be where it crosses the plate.
You got to get the call from the umpire.
Yeah, Sam Holbrook doesn't have pitch tracks. He has Sam Holbrook's eyes. This one is low. Here we look at it again. Look where Zahn caught it.
Oh, now look at that. I mean, that may have caught the bottom part of the knee right there.
Look at the front knee, though.
Front knee, and that's where it really counts. The front of home plate. That's one of those. I think I like Ordonez. Borderline, I might give it to him today.
That was a real good angle by the crew to see where the ball went through the strike zone as it crossed the plate.
Great,
front knee, it was up high. Back knee, it was low. Granderson, 1 out of 3, solo home run, the only run in this game. And now 3-0 as Baez falls behind Granderson.
Well, you see Baez a little bit on that last pitch, trying to rush the arm up there. I'm sure he's taking his time because he realized he overthrew that last pitch, and he wants to try to get himself back on track again. Reprogram the computer and get back here. See if he can get this count even, or at least get to 3-2.
Ordonez is not a stolen base threat. There's a strike. 3-1. Granderson now with 13 home runs on the year. He has the team lead now. He began the day tied with Brandon Inge. High fly ball to center field. Jones back on it and has it for the out. So 2 men down. Ordonez back to first. Well, get online Orioles.com for your chance to win the Adam Jones Bobblehead Night VIP Experience Sweepstakes. One lucky winner will receive 4 VIP seats and VIP parking for the game on Wednesday, June 17th against the Mets. And you could win 4 passes to watch batting practice right there on the field at Oriole Park. So don't miss your chance to experience Oriole Park in an entirely different way. Enter online at Orioles.com. And there's a strike.
You know, you go back to that Granderson fly ball that we just saw a minute ago and watched Adam Jones, the way he approached that ball. I think he's really starting to learn now that he can't play as shallow as a Mark Blair used to. I mean, Paul Blair used to play. That this is a different ballpark. The ball's wrapped differently. It's more hitter friendly. You don't have the same kind of wind currents. He's going to have to move back a step or two, and maybe a few more base hits are going to fall in. But you can't allow that big ball to get over your head for a double or triple, especially in ball games like this where you're 1-run difference.
1-1 the count on Jeff Larish, and I guess what that comes down to is confidence that you can get back on a ball where you decide to play.
Well, you saw that early in the season he was getting a lot of base hits just over the shortstop, second baseman's head, depending which way he was shading. He was getting a lot of stealing a lot of base hits, but then he started to get burned in the gaps in front of. So we're watching this nice curveball on the outside corner.
1-2 on Larish. Runner first, 2 down in the dirt, blocked by Zahn. It keeps Ordonez at first with 2 men out.
But now you see Adam Jones making more adjustments now on knowing the hitters that he has to play a little bit deeper so those balls won't hurt him. And here I am talking about all the time, and I'm missing that great block back there behind home plate by Greg Zahn. That was one of those kind of balls that you can't go down on it. It'll go over your shoulder. He knows right away it bounced so far out in front of home plate. You got to come up on it, and he did a great job of doing that.
The 2-2 pitch is low ball 3. Looked like the splitter that he wouldn't chase. So Baez, another 3-ball count, and this time with 2 down. Ordonez will get a head start at first base, so Huff's going to move behind him. With Larish playing at first base today as Miguel Cabrera gets a day off. Runner goes. Line drive right field. That's a base hit. Markakis is going to have to get to it in a hurry as Ordonez is heading to third. He's being sent by Gene Lamont. Markakis dropped the ball, and Ordonez will score. And the Tigers get a huge insurance run here in the 8th inning on a 2-out RBI double by Jeff Larish.
And that's what I was talking about, Larish, who has that kind of home run double swing that he just kind of sits on that backside. We talked about it earlier. He gets the 3-2 count. He knows he's going to look for fastball. He gets it on the outside corner. This is a young guy who's trying to pull the ball, and you see he gets good wood. Watch Nick Markakis pick it up and drop it. Otherwise, he probably would have had a shot at the guy at home plate once he hit the cutoff, man. You see the run score right there, and now Detroit is up 2-0.
And Baez hurt himself by going to 3-2 because that gave Maglio Ordonez a head start. Here's Brandon Inge with a runner at second base. Check swing and a strike. Inge, by that facial expression, obviously didn't agree. Inge has been on base twice with a single. He's been hit by a pitch. Breaking ball for a strike, and it's 0-2.
You know, one thing I've noticed about Brendan Inge this year offensively, and it's probably one of the reasons why he's putting up better home run numbers than he has in his career at this point, is that he opened up his left side a little bit. You can see that back knee from this camera angle. He used to have a very close stance at home plate, but now he's opened up and probably gets his hands inside the ball better.
Baez gets him on the big curveball, and the inning ends, but the Tigers get a big insurance run. RBI double by Larish. Birds come up in the 8th, down 2-0. As just $9 to get your tickets. 888-848-BIRD or online at Orioles.com. I wonder if they delivered. Here's a youngster with grandma at the ballpark. Here's Ty Wigginton. First ball swinging, missed it, and it's 0-1. Wigginton, Scott Wieters for the Orioles in the 8th, down by 2 runs now.
But what you'd really like to see Wigginton do is slow his swing down a little bit. Last week on the road trip, he took a couple of good swings that were under control, and he got himself in a nice little offensive groove with good solid contact. But boy, when he gets in that mode where he's swinging as hard as he can at the first pitch fastball, it's hard for him to get hits.
Well, that one goes towards the gap in right center field. That's down for a base hit, and it bounces up into the crowd for a ground rule double. So the Orioles get something going, and for the first time today have the leadoff man on here in the 8th. Well, time now for you to text in your vote for the AT&T player of the game, and here are the candidates. Jason Birkin, who goes 7 strong innings. Edwin Jackson, who has kept the Orioles off the scoreboard into the 8th. Or Curtis Granderson, who has a home run on the day. Text in your vote now. Have your voice heard. Text in A, B, or C to 51862. Edwin Jackson, first time today, allows the leadoff man to reach. And here is Luke Scott, who comes to the plate representing the tying run. Trying to extend his home run streak. Changeup fooled him, 0-1. Gerald Laird and Edwin Jackson today have had a tremendous game plan. Luke Scott is not only 0 for 2, he has struck out each time as Wigginton leads from second base. Luke Scott has homered in 4 consecutive games. Fastball high and 1-1.
Okay, you want to talk about having to make good pitches on Luke Scott right now. You can see it right there. Edwin Jackson making that slider down and in, then the fastball up and in. Very, very tough to hit when you're just hitting the black, and that's what Jackson is doing right now. He's making better pitches than anybody else has been able to do against Luke Scott.
Fastball's high, laid off, 2-1. Orioles have been on a roll. Luke Scott, the hottest of the hitters at the plate, representing the tying run. $11 home runs and 29 RBIs. 18 of those ribbies have come in May, and he spent 2 weeks on the disabled list this month. Good hitters count, 2-1. Outside ball 3. Tigers bullpen is working. That is Joel Zamaya, who got in the game last night, as we peek in on our jib cam in center field. That camera literally hovering over the bullpen. Eddie, the camera operator there, has a way of sneaking in on the bullpen.
Yeah, he's got a good shot at it.
Well, 3-1 on Luke Scott.
And this is a situation where Luke's got to be looking fastball, and if he gets a big part of the plate, you know he's going to get the good part of the bat on it. I'm sure that's why Laird went out there to talk to him.
3-1, line drive, caught by the first baseman, throw to second, safe as Wigginton got back. That pitch moved on Luke Scott. He didn't get the good wood at it, and a soft line drive, 1 down. Well, Matt Wieters coming up today now represents the tying run, and here are his at-bats.
Yeah, it's a good at-bats here. He gets good wood on this ball out over the plate down to left field. Actually, this was the pop-up, I'm sorry. But this is the slider down and in that he had such a tough time with in his second at-bat. And you talk about having to watch a guy who's been pitching. Actually, he's been pitching very good against Scott. Is that, you know, he continues to make good pitches when Wieters gets up there. He knows he can't stay in the middle of the plate with him either.
Wieters fouls it back. Orioles trying to get on the board here. Tigers got a big insurance run top half of this inning. Now with a 2-0 lead. 2 for 10 over the first 3 games for Matt Wieters. Edwin Jackson has struck out 7. He has walked 1, and that 1 walk was erased as Andino was caught trying to steal. Big cut, he missed it, 0-2.
Pretty tough pitch to set, to try to sit on there. A good rising fastball, especially when he throws at 97 miles an hour.
Mark Hendrickson now up in the Oriole bullpen. 0-2 on Wieters with Wigginton at second, now with 1 down. Fastball lays off, and Jackson again trying to get a hitter to chase a fastball out of the strike zone with 2 strikes.
It seems like as the game goes on, that Jackson continues to get stronger and stronger with the fastball. 96 mile an hour. A little bit out of the strike zone that time, but for most of the game, he has been right in and around it. The Orioles have been swinging at it because they know he's going to throw strikes.
1-2 hit toward shortstop. Wigginton goes back to the bag, and playing it to first is Adam Everett, 2 down. Well, you talk about an education of a young hitter. Let's look at the pitch-by-pitch Jackson versus Wieters.
You see right away he's not going to stay anywhere near the middle of the plate. He gets that fastball away, the good rising fastball again. He's trying to stay with it because he realizes Wieters can't catch up with it right now.
So Jackson gets back-to-back outs after that leadoff double. And now it'll take a 2-out base hit to get a run in. There's Greg Zaun, who is hitless on the day. Zaun now 2 for 12 on this homestand. Breaking ball for a strike, 0-1. Jackson has been very impressive today in how unpredictable he has been.
I know that's just no fair because he goes after Matt Wieters with all fastballs. So you figure, well, maybe he's going to come at me with a fastball, and then he throws a nasty little curveball right there for strike 1.
There's a big chopper to second base, fielded there by Santiago, and Jackson gets out of it. Leadoff double, a man left. We'll head to the 9th on a Sunday at Camden Yards. 2-0 Tigers. For great leases and low financing. A lovely look towards the warehouse on this Sunday afternoon, and a good game. Orioles on the short end of a 2-0 score. And here's Mark Hendrickson, Rick, to come on and work here in the 9th inning and keep this a 2-run game.
Well, it's a good day, but certainly not a good game up to this point. The Orioles are down 2-0. I want 3 runs out of them. I think that's all we're going to need.
So Hendrickson, the former starter, now in the bullpen for the Orioles, coming out to get in an inning. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th for the Orioles, and Dino is due to lead off. Then the top of the lineup, Roberts and Jones. We do have 3 veterans on the bench today. Reimold didn't start, Mora didn't start, so Dave Tremblay has some options if he wants to go to the bench. But first things first, here is Josh Anderson. Slaps it towards left field. Luke Scott is right there, has it for the out. And 1 down in the 9th inning. Well, the Orioles on the move after the game today. They will head west to Seattle. First look at the Mariners this year. And Seattle has the best team ERA in the American League. Night games 3 consecutive nights. Tomorrow, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Masson HD tomorrow night, then Masson 2 the next 2 days. Day off on Thursday, and then it's down the coast to Oakland Friday night, Saturday night, and then a Sunday afternoon game next Sunday. So the Birds on the road for a 7-game, 6-day road trip.
Boy, and I hate to miss that trip. I hate to miss that trip. Have you ever had the Dungeness crab up there in Seattle?
No.
Oh, if you love steamed crabs here in Baltimore, you have to love Dungeness crabs. They're about 10 times bigger.
Towards the middle, Brian Roberts has it. Off balance throw. He got him. Ball hit hard, and Roberts got it. 2 men down.
Look at this backhand by Brian Roberts. He goes to good range, then just flips it up there. And it's that he got to it so quickly. You see this shot by Laird. He gets to it so quickly. He can throw that little lofted fly ball over to Aubrey Huff and get him in plenty of time. That's quickness for you.
That's a real knack he has, being able to throw the ball softly like that when he's doing the pirouette. If you try to throw too hard when your body's going the other way, you might throw it by the first baseman.
I think what he realized right off the bat is he had Laird running, so he had plenty of time, and he just lofted it over there. He didn't have to put a lot on it. So just get it on line and let Aubrey Huff do the rest.
2 down. Here's Adam Everett. 1 out of 3. And Hendrickson misses high. Here's Fernando Rodney, the closer, getting set. That might be what the Orioles need, the way Jackson has pitched today. Jackson comes out of the game. That's low ball 3.
Well, they're going to be looking at a guy that pretty much has the same kind of fastball, 95, 96. We saw that out of Jackson for most of the day, too. So it's just another one of those hard throwers. That's one thing you notice about this Detroit ball club. With Zumaya out there at 101, has been up as high as 103 miles an hour. They don't have any soft tossers out there at all.
3-1 the count. I don't know. I mean, the way that starter's going, there's a 2-out walk. Why change? I mean, I realize the closers are out there to close games, but I think the Orioles have had a tough time against that starter today.
I wouldn't want to change him. I mean, he doesn't have a real high pitch count right now, and you would think they would leave Jackson in there. That's the way it used to be. You know, when the guy was handling a ball club as well as Jackson has done all day, you let him finish that ball game.
Well, he's still on the bench, so we'll see what Jim Leyland does. Here is Cleet Thomas with Everett at first and 2 down. Swings through a fastball, and it's 0-1.
You know, it's been noticeable, Jim, how much better Hendrickson has started to pitch once he went back to the bullpen. He's supposed to be a long guy. That's what he was originally brought here for. We tried him as a starter. He couldn't get past that 3rd inning without having trouble. 4th inning was the nemesis inning for him. But, boy, he's settled in a little bit better. I like what I see out of him out of the bullpen now.
Gives the Orioles some added balance in that bullpen as well, because it gives them a 3rd left-hander to go with the 4 right-handers. The Orioles are back to a balanced roster with a 4-man bench and a 7-man bullpen. Ball and a strike on Thomas. Everett back to first.
One thing you really hate to see, though, is 2-out walks, because those come back to haunt you all the time.
One is lined towards the gap in left center field. Jones chasing it down, heading towards 3rd base is Adam Everett. He's being sent. He's coming towards the plate, and a huge insurance run for the Tigers.
Now you talk about those 2-out walks, and that's what happens most of the time. One of my favorite sayings is nothing good ever happens after a walk. I know, Jim, you're probably tired of hearing me say that, but we're also getting tired of seeing what happens after these walks. Watch this one right here. Fastball on the outside corner. Thomas gets a good swing, stays inside of it, drives it into the gap all the way to the Bud Light sign, and around comes 3rd base. It's amazing. Comes Everett, and now the Orioles are down 3-0.
So each reliever, Baez walked a batter that scored. Hendrickson has walked a batter who has scored. And it's a 3-0 Tiger lead in the 9th with Ramon Santiago batting. And Hendrickson not out of it yet with Cleet Thomas in scoring position. High pop-up left field. Moving in on the ball is Luke Scott. He calls off Andino, and he has it for the out. Inning ends, but a big run for the Tigers. Bottom of the 9th coming up. The Orioles need 3 to tie. We head to the bottom of the ninth inning as the Orioles now trail by 3. The Tigers with 2 very big insurance runs, and they have handed the baseball to their closer, Fernando Rodney. So after 8 outstanding innings, Edwin Jackson's day is done, and Rodney, Rick, comes on to try to earn the save.
Well, he's another one of these hard throwers that the Detroit Tigers have that come out of the bullpen. He's just been recently moved back in as the closer. Never really had too many saves in the course of his career. I think 13 is the most that he has had. But, you know, he's certainly a guy that Jim Leyland loves having in that role. He'd rather take Zumaya and use him as a setup guy, that 102 or 101 mile an hour fastball. This guy here, a little bit more consistency with his off-speed stuff because he doesn't have to, or he has to use him a little bit more often than Zumaya does. But Rodney's been doing a real good job, and Leyland has a lot of confidence in him right now.
Well, Fernando Rodney has been perfect on the year. He is 9 for 9 in save opportunities and has a streak going dating back to last season in which he has converted 12 consecutive save opportunities. It is the longest consecutive save streak of his career. Here's Cesar Estouras off the bench to pinch hit for Robert Andino, who is 0 for 1 with a walk. Of course, the Orioles now down by 3, need to get 2 runners on to get the tying run to the plate. Following Estouras, Roberts, and Jones. Rodney worked in the game last night. He pitched a 4-batter 9th inning and got the save. And the first batter he faced last night was Cesar Estouras, who singled.
One thing you see out of all of these relief pitchers that come out of the Detroit bullpen is they're coming at you with the fastball. They're just guys that rear back and let it go. They're all up there in the high 90s. And there's no guesswork involved in it at all as to what they're really going to throw you. You better be looking for the fastball.
Well, Cesar Estouras has one job here, get on base, and he's 2-0 in the count. Of course, Rodney also has that changeup to go with that fastball, which makes him so effective. You have to look for the fastball. He throws so hard. 2-0 the count. And there's a strike, 2-1. And what he's trying to do here is go right at the hitters. Brian Roberts will be the next hitter he'll attack. If Estouras hits it out, it's still a 2-run game. The key is trying to keep them off base.
Same kind of scenarios you see out of Trevor Hoffman from the San Diego Padres. You know, darn good fastball up there in the high 90s, and then a devastating changeup. Once he gets you looking for that fastball, you can't look for changeup, and so many hitters just end up taking it.
Well, from 2-0 to a 2-2 count on Cesar Estouras. Fans getting into it. Strike 3 called. What a pitch. He throws him on the inner part of the plate with an off-speed pitch, 1 away.
Oh, that really hurts when you get up there and you get a pitcher in the hole, 2 balls and no strikes, and then he makes this pitch on you right there. It looks like the fastball is going to be inside and just enough tail. You see it come back. It hits Layard's glove. He knows it right at that point right there that it came back and got him. It fooled him.
So 1 down, and the all-important leadoff man retired in the 9th inning. Fernando will go after Roberts, who bounces it towards first. Larish is right there, and 2 quick outs. Let's get an update on the voting for the AT&T Player of the Game, and Jason Birking getting the hometown vote. Birkin with 95%, Jackson 3%, Granderson 2%. You can still text in your vote and have your voice heard, A, B, or C, to 51862, and Tom and Dave will have the results coming up on O's Extra Postgame. Orioles down to their final out on a homestand in which the hitting has been in abundance. The Orioles in this game today have had 3 base runners, 2 hits and 1 walk.
One thing you know right off the bat, when you've got so many guys that come at you with the fastball and they throw hard, 95, 97 miles an hour, you're looking at that right there. Most hitters are going to be looking first pitch fastball, and that's why you get quick outs right there. It's the way the scenario works out, and that's what's really good.
Down and away, ball 2. Jones being patient. He knows right now Aubrey Huff is the important batter, and Aubrey Huff is still in the dugout behind Markakis. Two and 0 the count. Ball 3. if the Orioles can't come back here, this will still be a very successful homestand going 5-2. But you know the Orioles are going to be disappointed because they were 5-0 and will have dropped the final 2 games heading out on the road. But still, overall, a 5-2 homestand, very, very commendable.
Yeah, they've had so much trouble this season so far, finishing off the last game of the series when they've won the first 2 games. It's a scenario that's just kind of stuck with them so far.
And the day game and Sunday record has been well documented. Just 4-11 in day games and 1-6 on Sundays. 3-1 on Jones. And he walks. So the Orioles have life. 2-out base runner.
Kind of funny, you know, the Orioles have struggled in day games, 4-11 on the season so far, but exactly the opposite. Detroit flourishes in day games. They're 13-4 on the season.
So Nick Markakis, and here's where that insurance run and the top half of this inning is big for Detroit. Instead of Markakis coming up as the tying run is still on deck. Nick 1 out of 3 on the day. Now is a 3-game hitting streak. Jones is not being held at first base. Outside, ball 1, and Gerald Laird now will go out and talk to Rodney. He came in again with a changeup.
Well, one good thing about the Orioles lineup is they're so tough late in ball games, even when they're behind, because they seem to become more patient. They seem to get better pitches to hit in most cases. And when the Orioles will start getting those hits, they're able to put 3 and 4 hits together in a package and put some runs up on the board. We're kind of hoping this is what happens with 2 outs here. But this is what they have been able to do the last couple of years. They're a good come-from-behind ball club.
Markakis taking all the way there. He's trying to get on base to get Huff up there to try to tie it with 1 swing. Here's Adam Jones at first. He drew a 2-out walk. Down and in, ball 2.
99 miles an hour. You can see he's got himself out of control a little bit by throwing too hard. I mean, just go ahead, Rod. Just throw it up there as hard as you want. 99 miles an hour. They got some guys who can throw.
2-1 on Markakis. Jones runs, and the pitch is taken, ball 3. That will not be a stolen base, but the Tigers gave it to him, so Jones moves up, so no force at second base. That'll be a fielder's choice, allowing the runner to take second base. 3-1 on Markakis, who is a pitch away from bringing Huff up as the tying run. Foul back, 3-2.
Now you talk about those 2-out walks, Jim. You see what happened to Hendrickson when he had the inning in hand and then walk somebody. It's the mentality of the pitchers, what they're trying to do when they come back from a walk, that really makes the difference. Is they try to take a bigger part of the plate. They're not as relaxed. They want to get ahead, strike 1, and they end up laying the ball right down the middle. The next hitter is ready for that good fastball. And it always works out against the defensive ball club.
3-2 hit right back to Rodney. He has it halfway to first. The other hat toss, and the ball game is over, and the Orioles lose it 3-0. Tigers bounce back after dropping the first 2. They've won back-to-back games. And we invite you to join us again tomorrow. More O's action from the road. The Birds will fly to Seattle. And 3-game series against Seattle. Rich Hill on the mound against Jared Washburn. Coverage on MASN begins at 9:30 with O's Extra, presented by AT&T, followed by the game at 10 o'clock on MASN AB. For Rick Dempsey and Amber Theo Harris, Jim Hunter saying so long from Memorial Park. Today's telecast, a MASN presentation. Now Tom Davis, Dave Johnson, and O's Extra.